Indian Navy and Indian Air Force?
Yes.
You know, right. Now these are known as the defense services. You have Indian Army to protect the land. You have the Indian Navy to protect our maritime borders. And then we have the Indian Air Force to protect our skies, right? So why do we need defense forces? Anybody can tell me? What is that? That is right. So we know that, in your houses you have, how do you protect your houses? You have a boundary wall all around your house, isn't it? Everybody has got a house and a boundary wall. Okay, so that no unwanted people can enter the house, isn't it? But yes, but in our country, what happens? We have borders with our neighboring countries. You know the neighboring countries? Right. So we will today, because we are going to talk about Kargil, Diwas, Vijay Diwas, we will be talking only about our neighbor Pakistan, right? So what happens? We have a common border with Pakistan along Jammu Kashmir, Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat, right? So Pakistan, especially in the J&K, that is Jammu Kashmir, the border is not very definite because some portion of Kashmir is with them, which is known as Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which Pakistan is illegally occupying that portion of Kashmir, right? So we have a border which is not very well defined. So normally we have a understanding between the two countries that whatever be the dispute, we will clear the dispute only through talks, through bilateral understanding and talks. Are you understanding? We will not fight with each other and then, solve our disputes. We will always talk and then only we will come to a conclusion to resolve the dispute, right? But unfortunately, in 1999, in the area Kargil, you know where Kargil is? Yeah, Kargil is the northern district of, one of the northern districts of the state of Jammu Kashmir, right? Today, it is part of the Union Territory, Ladakh. So what happens in Kargil during winters, there is a heavy snowfall, right? The snowfall is so heavy that if the snowfall continues for days together and then the snow gets collected on the ground for almost 10 feet, 15 feet, Generally, what is the height for an adult? What is your height? All of you? Somebody can tell your height? 4 feet, yeah. 4 feet. So generally an adult, it is between 5 feet, 6 feet, right? And when you have the snow above you, you get, covered with snow. You get buried in the snow, which is dangerous to the life of our soldiers. So during winter time, our soldiers get back from the outposts. We have outposts. There are listening and watching heights along the Kargil border where we can see whether any intruders are coming into our land or not. Okay. But in winter, our army jawans and the army forces, they get back because of the heavy snowfall there. And it is understood by Pakistan and India that at that time we will not intrude into each other's territory, right? But in 1999, somewhere at the end of March, Pakistan stealthily and very cleverly, they went and occupied lot of heights, lot of peaks near the Kargil border and occupied those places, and they had carried with them lot of arms and ammunition, weapons, anti-tank guns, right? So that is the time we were not aware initially. By sometime in May, our forces were told by, there are a lot of shepherds, the local people, shepherds? The shepherds take out their sheep. Yeah. When they were moving out, they found the Pakistan forces in the guise of, the local people, local tribals there. They were actually army, Pakistan army people, but they were dressed up as the local tribals there, right? So that to conceal their identity as soldiers. So this was told to our army by the shepherds, and that is the time we send our forces and we try to, shoo them away, move them away by force. But it was difficult. Why was it difficult? Because they were occupying the high areas, the peaks, top of mountains, You know peaks? You understand what a peak is? Yeah. So they were occupying those mountain peaks, and we had to attack them from the ground, So there is a steep climb, and then you have to fire at them. But what happened was, they were at a advantageous position. They could see us coming up. They used to roll down boulders against our forces, fire at them. So it was a difficult task. That's the time we had to wage a war against them, and more forces were taken to Kargil, and even the Indian Air Force was used to fire at them, right? Indian Air Force used a lot of their fighter aircraft to fire on those positions where they were occupying. But that was not enough. We had to actually move, because they had a lot of anti-tank guns they were firing at our aeroplanes, fighter aeroplanes, right? So that is how the army in large numbers were asked to move, attack these high mountain peaks and chase all these intruders away. That was a very difficult task, and that could only be done by brave army officers and jawans, because you couldn't go face to face, you had to take difficult paths to go up the mountain. At times you had to go very slow, avoid yourself hit by the enemy's bullets. So it was a very difficult task, and we had a lot of casualties. You understand casualty? That is, a lot of our jawans were killed or wounded during the process. It is somewhere in July that we started having successes one by one. So that was, we started capturing all these heights one by one, and we started either eliminating these enemy forces or chasing them away. So that way we called, there was a first height known as the Solo Ling height. Solo Ling height was the first height which was captured. And then you must have heard about Tiger Hill. In Kargil War, Tiger Hill is a major victory that the Indian army had, and that gave lots of motivation to the other army teams which are fighting in the other areas. And that is how the army could finally capture all those outposts which were in the hands of the enemy, and we either captured them or they had run away from those forts. And that was in July 26, 1999. The war ended with the army Indian Army having an upper hand at recapturing all our outposts from the Pakistani forces. Okay, so at the end of the war, we found that almost about 525 of our soldiers had died. Almost about 1,000 of them were wounded. Right? It was a heavy casualty for us. So we should always be grateful to those people because of their, isn't it? You can all study, you can all study in your schools. Your teachers can safely teach you. Your parents can go and work in their respective workplaces. Okay, we can sleep peacefully at night. It is all because our borders are guarded by our brave soldiers, airmen, and our sailors, right? So that is why, yes. So every year in July 26th, we celebrate this day as Kargil, Vijay, Diwas to commemorate or to remember the valor and sacrifices of those brave people who saved our country and also saved us from being captured by the enemy. Would you like to ask something to me? Any questions that you want to ask?
Are you in the Kargil war, sir?
So they want to know whether you were directly involved during the war time.
Yeah, see, Kargil war was fought by very young people. I was at that point of time, I was a lieutenant colonel. So we were only in the headquarters, that is the control centers from where we were guiding our forces. But most of the people who directly were involved in the Kargil were very young people. You know, officers were from the age of 21 to 26. Because it is very difficult at the age. Have you been to the mountains, any of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Right. But the mountains are different because in Himalayas, the mountains are very, very in high positions. That is about 18,000 feet, 20,000 feet. So what happens there, the oxygen level is very less. You know, in Trivandrum, you are all at the mean sea level, almost the sea level, you know. So you have enough oxygen, you can play around, you can run around, you won't feel tired. But there, even if you walk a few steps, you will start gasping for breath because there is very little oxygen in the air. Right? We call it the rarefied atmosphere. Right? You must have learned as you go higher and higher, the density of air reduces, so the oxygen is very less at that point of time. So only young people could actually take part in the direct combat, that is direct fighting. Right? All of us seniors we were all directing them from the control center. Right? And I was more involved, being an engineer, I was more involved in providing engineering support to the troops, to the forces who were fighting in the front.
The soldiers have training.
Why do the soldiers need the training?
Yes.
Yeah. Why do they need training? Because in the army, the service, Army, Air Force and Navy, the service is 24/7 throughout the year because you do not know when the country would be attacked, right? We should always be prepared anytime. So for us to be prepared anytime, we need continuous training, right? We have to be trained and trained and trained so that we are thorough. Even something happens suddenly, we are able to react in the right way immediately. What happens in the defense forces? Time is very, very, very important. Time, you know. You must have, or in the school they have taught you punctuality. You have to come to the school in time, isn't it? Right? So, time is very, very important in military operations. Similarly, the skill, how you need to fight, how to use the weapons, your physical fitness, not to be tired when you're fighting. You may be fighting for days together, right? Sometimes when you fight, you may not even get food for some hours or some days also. You carry little bit in your pouch, whatever little you can carry for eating in emergency situations. So for all these purposes, one has to have a high level of training. That is why training is very important in the defense force. Right? Got the answer?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us, and we are looking forward to have you once coming over to our school, and so that they can see you in person also. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Yourself, all the staff, and the children for giving me this opportunity.
Thanking Lakshmi too.
To rekindle, I know they are already patriotic, and I don't know how many, maybe seeing this, knowing something about Kargil, some of them at least would like to join the defense forces, right?
Definitely,
okay,
that's
children.
What
okay, bye and Jai Hind.
Can we all say together? Wow.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.